We flipped a coin, okay? You and me. You and me. Coin flip is sacred.
Y'all ready for a show today, baby? Go time, baby.
We've been waiting all week for this. This is where it happens right here, man. We man up, we stand up. We man up, we stand up. We all we got. We all we got. We all we got.
Hit anything that moves. We're playmakers, man. We the best, nothing less.
You don't like this? Trust me, you don't like it.
We're between the white lines. This is football. Welcome to the big league. I won the toss. I took the football. Drive it down that throat.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your skull?
Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest.
Welcome everybody to week 3 of the 2022 NFL season. I got up here, apologize. This is coming out later Friday. It is early Friday morning here. I got back at probably about 1:30 in the morning from the day job work trip to California for the week. Glad to be back home in good old Oklahoma. Apologize for a little bit of the content being delayed this week. Doesn't happen. I travel in my area a lot, but not like that where I'm kind of offsite meeting all day, doing things at night, team building, stuff like that. So it's hard to get things accomplished, but I think we have a good week ahead. So I'm interested to kind of a little hop behind on the industry stuff. So I'll be doing a lot of that throughout the day as I'm driving around doing stuff, gauging that kind of thing as we get towards the content, ownership, final ownership, stuff like that for Sunday. But was able to, between traveling and layover, all that kind of stuff back, do a lot of research and get the rankings. I'll get those out. Should be out by lunchtime posted. This probably get out mid-afternoon or so, closer to lunch, hopefully. Just a busy week, busy day. So I appreciate the patience there. We will still have all the content out as normal, ready to go. So I'm going to keep this short, straight to the point, because that is what you guys will want by this time. Hopefully had a good first President's Cup day on the DraftKings. I had much more overlay than I thought would be there. Sitting okay. I feel all right. The draw kind of went my way for day 2, the way that I built, but that didn't mean anything. There's still a lot of matches to go. We'll see how that shakes out. If you want to join us right now, use the code COIN, 20% off any package, includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Come check us out. College football, NFL, got the golf going still, NBA around the corner. NASCAR, we'll be refilling up that team for the 2023 season. UFC, all kinds of things going on. Come check us out right now. Even the sports we don't cover day to day, like MLB, that's all in our Green Machine lineup builder as well. So all sports, tennis, all that kind of stuff, it's in there. If you don't see something in there, we can add it. Just let us know. We have everything built out for any kind of slate and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice because you can go in Slack and, there's plenty of people in the MLB Slack. They'll talk. Do that kind of stuff. You want to go build some teams with the lineup, do it, you can do that. We still have it in there, even though we may not cover it every single day like MLB. There are other sports, obviously, that we do cover. You can do those as well. Rate and review us on iTunes. I'll be doing giveaways. Probably next big one will be kind of Thanksgiving. Black Friday is what I'm looking at. Do some giveaways there, get some money, that kind of stuff. I will have winners at the end of this pod for the NFL one. I think I forgot that last week. I'm pretty sure I did. Last week was crazy as well, but I have the winners picked out for that. Subscribe and like this video on YouTube. That'll get you into the drawings as well. Tell me your favorite running back, $7,000 or less this week. Pretty top heavy there. So I'm interested to see top heavy. I mean, the most of the favorite running backs I think are going to be 7,000 or higher, but there are a few in there that I think will garnish some ownership. So tell me their favorite running back, $7,000 or less this week. No NFL listener league. We're just not feeling it, and I can't battle with. I mean, we feel the golf one plenty and all that. A lot of our membership is golf is their number one deal. So I can't battle with, or not battle, but I'm not gonna go back and forth with DK when we're right to the last minute to get it filled. So I'm done with the NFL listener league. I may do some fall swing if you guys tell me if we got enough interest there. On those kind of contests. If not, we'll have the PGA one back for when we get back to the new year and rocking and rolling with that one. As usual, I'll do the playbook, my favorite plays, fades, and values. We'll do favorite stacks, mini stacks, favorite contest lines. So if you're in the Circa or Super Contest or anything like that, my upset of the week, survivor of the week, some prize pick and underdog plays, and then we will get out of here. 13-game slate back this week after a little bit smaller one last week. No, this kind of reminds me of week 1 a little bit. And we know, especially if you're in survivor pools, I mentioned that week that this is fishy. Something's up. No double-digit favorites, 10 road favorites. 9 road favorites plus 2 pick'ems. So seems like another setup for a survivor pool, another, massacre, or it just feels a little fishy. So I would keep that in mind as you kind of go through it. Ownership, a lot tighter than we have seen the first 2 weeks. First 2 weeks, we've had pretty, some game ownerships over 100%, 120%. I don't have any over 87%. And I have 8 games between 70 and 87% total ownership. So a lot more spread out this week, which is kind of good because you can pick your spots, decide where you want to go. There's not just a super chalky spot. I think the top 2 I have right now is Detroit, Minnesota, Washington, Philly. But again, there's a ton right there, just right behind them as well. We'll get right to the quarterback plays. I like Cousins this week. I think it's a good spot. He's back home, back at his time, 1:00 Eastern Standard. He burned so many people Monday night in the 2-game slate, probably the showdown as well. Detroit looking good, Hard Knocks, the first Hard Knocks team is actually kind of producing type of deal. Just feels like a great spot to jump back on Cousins, and I don't mind Jefferson, especially at his price, because I think many people will kind of be off that. Jefferson didn't have the greatest of game, but this feels like a great bounce back spot. $6,700 is a great reduced price off of the Lamars, Herbert, Hurts, Mahomes, Allen. Herbert, obviously, we got to see how the injury's looking, but I think Allen will be pretty popular, and I think Hurts will too. Lamar not too far behind, and so I think maybe a 7-8% Cousins, but I think it's a good spot and a good game environment that I like him a lot at $6,700 this week. Next one is kind of probably the rule I would say is I in a player pool for me, I would only have one of Allen and Hurts. I don't think I want both of them. So say you're doing 20 max, which I typically say do no more than 3 quarterbacks in a 20 max, and build your stacks around that. I would pick one of those 2. I'm leaning Hurts. I have him slightly less owned, and he's cheaper. We'll see how that comes by Sunday morning when I do final thoughts, ownership, and all that. The price doesn't really bother me one way or the other. I think I like Hurts a little bit. As long as he can say lower owned or almost equal, I like Hurts too because I don't feel like I have to do as much of the stack. Allen this week, on the road in Miami, that kind of stuff, he can get there, no doubt, but he runs, but not like Hurts runs type of deal. So I lean Hurts there, but if by Sunday everybody's kind of going that way, maybe Hurts is going to get overlooked, I would just have one of them. That's my rule. So I'll go to the fade right there. It'll be the opposite. So I like one of them, but I wouldn't have both in my pool this week because I think you're going to be on too many of the similar builds, and I would just pick the one you like the most and go that way. Value, again, I define value by either percentage owned or dollars. First one's Kyler. Gets there late. Probably most people had already written it off because he played so horrible in the first half. Actually, the end of the game for him, plus the Arizona defensive touchdown, swung me a lot and made me a very nice winning day in Sunday. Most of it came from the afternoon slate because I faded Burrow. I faded the Bengals defense. Main slate was close to break even, but the afternoon was so well that almost shipped the whatever it is, like $12 100K. But I still got him at that price. I think he's going to be 3 or 4%. I think most people were writing him off already, and then it was like, I kind of luck sacked into it at the end of the game. I'm not going to play Kyler. They're at home, division rival. They know well. Last year, both their games went over the total. It's one of the higher totals again this week. I think it could be a good sneaky play at 3 or 4% for sure. And then kind of my cheap play, I like Mariota. I think they could go on the road and he could do well. I don't know if I get there. Maybe if I'm doing like a 50 max build or something, or 50 lineups or something, I don't know if I get them into the, if I'm only picking 3, I'm not 100% I get there for sure. But at $5,500, it certainly opens some things up. I don't really have to game stack it. I don't like a bunch on Seattle. Maybe I can change my mind by Sunday, but I can get some pieces around Mariota. He's going to be 2 or 3% cheap, low owned. I don't know. He's the one guy that kind of stuck out for me as far as a value type play. More than likely will be surrounding myself on the higher-ish dollar quarterbacks this week. Cousins, Hurts, Kyler, or Allen if I decide to go Allen over Hurts. Don't hate even Lamar. I don't really necessarily like him on the road at Belichick for $8,000, but I think his ownership will come down because of that a little bit. And then Herbert's kind of just an asterisk because if the later that goes, I wonder if most people would say, I'm not going to take a risk. He takes one hit, he's out. Could get some good leverage there. They're at home against the Jaguars. If he was healthy, he would be probably very highly owned. I'm interested to see how that works out as well, and I'll update that as we get closer to Sunday. Running backs, Cook is my number one. Love him. $7,900, 10%. He's got to get some touchdowns. It's just I think things are going to go back his way a little bit. Good matchup against Detroit. Number one projected on the week for me in the overall rankings right now, and not crazy ownership, right? 10%, that price. Because I think people will pay. I don't think they want to pay up for running backs this week if they can help it. Maybe middle pack, but got to pay up for quarterbacks this week. Pricing's kind of getting there. Then you start stacking with wide receivers. The wide receivers are high price. You got Kupp at $9,900, Jefferson at $9,300. So I think, because you could save $300 and go to a Mixon, which is a popular play. Fournette, Montgomery is going to be popular. Josh Jacobs, Pierce, those kind of guys are going to get played quite a bit because people want to pay up elsewhere. I like Cook a lot. I like paying up at running back this week to an extent. Fournette, I just mentioned, I like him. I just think he's going to be so much usage this week at home against Green Bay. Evans is out. $6,500 feels too cheap to me. I know he's going to be high owned, so he's one of the chalk pieces I'm willing to get in. And I don't need him in a stack by any means. You could go that route, but I don't mind him. Maybe a correlated play with a Green Bay wide receiver that you like. Or I like Dillon this week, so you can run it back with Dillon and Fournette only. Both can get involved in the passing game. We've seen that. We saw Jones and Dillon for Green Bay on the field at the same time last week, so I don't hate that either. Swift is probably my second favorite overall play. 7,200, 6%. I don't know if I go Swift Cook because I do see potential for that being a passing shootout as well. And it's going to be the highest, I think it is my highest owned game right now. Yeah, not by much, but still it is. So I don't mind him. I like Swift in general. We know that. I've been playing him the first 2 weeks. Maybe that is different. You start Cook, Swift, and only pick like one wide receiver out of that game. St. Brown's going to be popular in Jefferson and stuff. So that'll be kind of interesting to talk about, especially the live chat Sunday morning. Values for me, I like Sanders. I don't think he's going to be too high owned, kind of like Cook. I think, and for the price, $5,500, 10% maybe, 11%. And I would trust Sanders more than Pierce. We don't know what Pierce is for now. We got the everybody was on week 1. He let everybody down. Then he comes back week 2, gets much more involved, kind of like Akers. I'll mention Akers here in a little bit. We just don't know how that works out, right? And they're on the road. They could be passing more, which brings Burkhead into it. I'm not as comfortable there. And looking at that cheap down option, I would take Sanders for 5, 6, 7% less, even though he's $500 more. Jones, I don't mind him either. I think because of his price and the way this week is, I think is a great large field GPP play. $7,400. I like Dillon better probably overall, but for the ownership leverage, that potential smash factor that he always brings, and hardly anybody's going to be on him at that price. There's much better options. Again, people don't want to pay up for running back. If they do, they're probably going to go more towards, Joe Mixon, those kind of guys this week. And I can just see this being a great value spot for him. GPP stuff. So I don't mind Aaron Jones either as a value play, being he's going to be 3 or 4%. I like Cordell Patterson. I still, I think you can put him in that Mariota mini stack. I don't think you have to get crazy in that game, but if you go just Mariota, Patterson, Pitts, and I don't think Pitts will be too high on this week. Super low owned. You're not getting too much involved in that game. And that little 3-man stack, I don't even think you have to run it back, but if you want to, you can. There's options there, obviously, Metcalf, those kind of guys. And I don't mind that. $5,800. I got him around 4% right now. I think he's a good play we could take a look at. My fade, kind of like quarterback. I think out of my pool, I would cut Pierce or Montgomery. Right now, I lean Pierce. $55,000. He's a third highest owned running back on my deal right now. Montgomery is the highest owned for me. But for $5,900, I could see him making some unique builds with him because he makes things happen. But just like Allen, I mean, if he is going to be 22% owned, if I was going to cut one, I may cut him and save the $900, get Pierce in there. He's going to be much lower owned than Montgomery, at least right now on my projections. One of those two, I probably cut out of the pool for sure. We'll finalize that Sunday. Right now, I would lean, I'd probably lean cutting out Pierce and trust Montgomery a little bit more, to be honest. Wide receiver play, I like Hollywood. Definitely, you could play him by himself. You could put him with Kyler if you're trying to, stack that up a little bit. I think his upside is just there. We've seen it. Rams, their D's playing okay, but I think Arizona can score this week. I think it's going to be a little bit, especially them being home, coming off, again, they probably shouldn't have won. This is a big game for them. If they want to do something before Hopkins gets back, this would be a big statement game for them. I like St. Brown. I think he's still too cheap. We've been playing him the first 2 weeks. We played him a lot last year at the end of the season. I like that game environment. He's going to be high owned, but I think it's warranted because I think his price is still too cheap for others around him. $7,200. I'm playing him all day. Jefferson, I think he'll be low owned. $9,300. Coming off a bad week with Cousins, let people down. If people are even remotely going up here, I think they would go, well, I might as well just pay $600 more for Kupp. Safer, all that kind of stuff. I think Jefferson's ceiling's higher, and I still think his floor is there. It's solid. But again, you got to take in that Cousins is back home at 1 o'clock. That's a big deal and a big factor there against a team he knows well, right? Detroit. So I don't mind going to Jefferson, $9,300. And then Higgins. I think he could be a sneaky play this week. Could be a one-off play. I think I got some mini correlation out of that Jets Bengals game. I don't mind him at all. $6,100, probably 9-10%. It gives me some price savings. I don't have to go too cheap. And we know he has those big game potentials, just smash the slate type potential. And I kind of feel like this is a week we can see some big Higgins. Values for me, MVS, if you want to get into that Chiefs game, I think it's second highest. Oh, nope, third highest total on the slate. $4,700. He's going to be 3 or 4%. I think that's a good value play. Chiefs have talked about spreading it out. I think if you want to get in that atmosphere, maybe you want to go Mahomes. I didn't even mention him. I don't hate it. That would be a good way to get a low-owned piece of that. But it could just be a good one-off play. Just hope it's his big game that week, and you don't really need anything else, and you don't have to pay it for Mahomes or Kelsey or any of that kind of stuff. I don't mind that. Jacksonville wide receivers, I think you could go Marvin Jones or Zay Jones. I like both of them. They're both around the same price. Both, $4,000, $4,100. Both around 1%, 2%, maybe 3%. Flip a coin there. I don't mind either one of them. If you go Herbert, maybe we go sneaky Herbert by Sunday. He's kind of late. Okay, now he's active. People are off of him. They're like, and I don't know if that, Jacksonville. So, yeah, LA's home. Chargers are home. So it'll probably be a 3 o'clock slate. So that could be even a better take. Well, you know what? Now I think about it. Assuming we don't know for sure by lock because they don't have to do inactives yet, it could be a great main slate play because people don't want to risk it. If we do know before main that he's 100% playing, I think we'll know by then. The 3 o'clock slate, he still may be lower owned, and I'm talking Herbert there. Get your piece that you like and then run it back with Jones, either one of the Jones, Marvin Jones or Zay Jones. In that type of environment, could be a little bit of a sneaky play. I don't mind that at all. Gage, I'm not high on the whole Tampa situation right now. I think that game could be a sneaky go at it type slate, but I'd rather go Fournette. But at $4,700, Mike Evans is suspended. He's going to be a high own because of that, probably 8, 9, 10%, but I don't mind that play either. And there's pieces in Green Bay I like that you go Fournette, Gage, run it back with one of the Green Bay running backs if you want. I don't hate that either. That may actually be on my correlation when we get down there. Fade for me is Juju. Just because he's getting so much. He's second highest owned for me right now. $5,500. I just think it's a good spot to fade that. I don't like that. I'd rather go MVS for a fourth of the ownership and just take a chance. It says week. Tight end play for me. I like Higbee a lot this week, $4,500. He'll probably be pretty popular. I don't think anybody's going to be too much over 10 double digit, if at all. I think it'll be kind of spread out there among the top. If you're doing some mini stacks there, we talked about Arizona already several times. I think he's a good piece you could run it back with or pair it up with pick another, maybe Robinson, Higbee, then Hollywood, a little three-man correlation type deal there. I don't hate that. Andrews I like because I think out of Kelsey and Andrews, I think they'll both be lower than what they should be because of everybody wanting to pay up elsewhere. And so out of those two, I save $1,000. I still think I get the same floor and ceiling-ish. And I like Lamar a little bit better this week than Mahomes, even though I don't know if I go to either one of them. But if I'm going to pay up for one of those two, right now I like Andrews better. I think they'll both be around the same owned at that pay up. I think most people are going to try to save money at the tight end spot this week, in my opinion. So I think those are on the table for us to look at. Value, I like Pitts because I just got him right now. I got him around 3 or 4%. And I'm high on the Atlanta game this week for them. Just a small stack, but I do like him. I think we know he can have a big game. Irv Smith, he's going to be one of the higher owned, 3,100. He fits. He's in the highest. The big game script between the Vikings and Lions. If you play him, I would just make sure you have a unique build around that, or you're just going to wind up being right there with everybody else that's going that Vikings-Lions stack, and then picking some. I just try to pick unique pieces around those builds. If you go Irv, defense for me, I like the Bears at home against Houston. Their D's been playing okay. $3,800. They're going to be 2%. Again, people, especially this week, are going to pay down as much as possible at defense. I talked about last week. Do not play the Bengals. Do not play the Bengals. Do not play the Bengals. It's not worth getting in that ownership, and it wasn't, especially because they were on the road. And I think not enough people took that into consideration when they're focused on Cooper Rush, blah, blah, blah. Just terrible leverage or play in GPP for me. So this week, similar. We don't have that big of a deal. I think Panthers will probably be high on. It's a little more spread out, so we don't have anything crazy. But I like the Bears, 2%, $3,800. That's not too much, and I think it's a good spot for them. I like the Falcons. Shocker. They're on the road, but I just don't like Seattle much. I think $2,700. I think it's a good. They're going to be 3 or 4%. People are going to go Texans before that. They're going to go Panthers before that. They may go Seahawks before that because they're home. Jets. Which is actually my value play. I like the Jets, $2,400, 7% at home against the Bengals. Burrow can still go off and give up a bunch of sacks and stuff. So I don't mind the Jets as my value play. So my two plays I like are Bears, Falcons. Cheapy, I like the Jets at $2,400. Gut feel plays outside of that I like. I like Antonio Gibson at home against the Eagles. I like Akers. That would be a large field GPP play, though. You don't need to get too cute there. I like Ramondre Stevenson. Again, probably more of a large field, but I don't mind sprinkling him in. And then I like Olave for the Saints. So you kind of get – I think he's going to have a big game at some point. I kind of like that as a low-key mini stack environment between the Saints and the Panthers. So I don't mind going there. And then London, so that's a piece if you want to go Falcons, and you're trying to, maybe you don't like Pitts for whatever reason, or you don't want to pay that. You go London, cheaper wide receiver, and then do what you want to do at tight end. I don't mind mixing and matching that either. And then Elijah Moore. I'm always going to kind of like him. Gets that Bengals. We'll get to that more in the mini correlated. So my favorite stacks main are Vikings, mix and match, Cousins, Cook, Jefferson, Thielen, Irv Smith, Cardinals, Kyler, Hollywood. We'll see about Connors and his health. Ertz even at tight end. I don't mind any of that kind of combinations of the Arizona, and then you could run it back with whatever piece from the Rams game, and then the Eagles. And I like, right now. So could be Eagles or Bills. Right now I lean Eagles overall. I always like Hurts because you don't have to get super heavy in the stack, but I like Sanders this week. And then pick your, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, any of those. Goddard. I think Goddard's fine at tight end. So those are my three. My mini correlated, I like Cook and Brown. So if you want to go Dalvin Cook and run it back with St. Brown, I don't mind that. A little 2-man, and then I know it gets risky because that's going to be one of the higher owned, but you can still build solidly with just those two pieces and get some other big pieces of other stack games. Or the flip side, take Swift and Jefferson. I think you could do that and then build around it with other game stacks that could make you a little bit different there. This is what I talked about earlier. I like the wide receivers from the Jets and Bengals. I think you could do 2 or 3-man correlations between all those wide receivers, Elijah Moore, Higgins, Chase, maybe Mixon even in there. 2 or 3-man correlations out of that game, I think is fine. I don't think you have to get crazy with the Jets Bengals. I mean, it is still the Jets Bengals. So, maybe you take a chance on one of the running backs for the Jets. Not probably my favorite, but I do like the wide receivers and potentially Mixon for some 2-3-man correlation. And then I like the Falcons-Rams game in general, but if you just want a small piece, I don't mind maybe you stay away. Hope Kupp just does okay, and you get Robinson, Higbee, and run it back with Hollywood. Real large field, you could mix Akers in there if you wanted to with Hollywood and then another piece. I don't hate that at all. I think there's plenty of ways to get unique in those builds between that Falcons and Rams game. Sneaky stack for me, it's pretty easy. Falcons, I have them as a team ownership 21% right now. Again, you don't have to be crazy with it, not outside the box cute, but for a team that won't get too much ownership, I do like them a lot this week. My favorite spreads, teams against the spread this week, so Circa contest, Super contest, whatever you do. I like Falcons +1, Patriots +3. Upset of the week, I was going to say the Packers because they were a dog. They're kind of moving back towards a pick 'em. So I think the Falcons beat the Seattle. Technically, they're still a dog, so I'll go Falcons. Survivor of the week, I think Chargers. I know everybody depending on when your cutoff is with your pool or whatever. I like them, and they may not be highly picked because of Herbert. That all depends on what we hear. If not, probably Vikings or Eagles are the other two that I would look at. Underdog and Prize Pick. Link is in the description. Use the code GUP, GUP, dollar for dollar match up to $100 on your deposit. Underdog has all kinds of Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, PGA. They did a draft. They did draft for the Tour Championship, the FedEx Cup. Really hoping and looking forward to they doing some kind of best ball type drafts for season long. Maybe they bring it out for the January type deal. That'll be awesome. Tons of nice stuff over there. They're probably the king of best ball for NFL, so you can go check that out as well. My pick 'em this week for them, and then they have pick 'em, so you can do pick 'em parlays. I like St. Brown over 71.5 receiving yards, Cook over 17.95 fantasy points, and Gibson 12.95 over 12.95 fantasy points as well. That pays 6 extra money. My Prize Pick plays of the week, I like Fournette over 103.5 total yards, Higgins over 14.5 fantasy points, Miles Sanders over 13 fantasy points, Traylon Burks over 38.5 receiving yards, and Elijah Moore over 49.5 receiving yards. So you can mix and match those 5. You can play all 5 if you want. Those are my favorite as we sit here on Friday. Don't forget, use Coin, 20% off any package on the site, locked in for life, includes 7-day risk-free trial. I will have the Audible live premium chat around 10 or 10:30 Eastern time Sundays when I've been going. College football, I think Bobby posted last night. Another big week there, big slate tomorrow, 3-game slate tonight. He's already got his article out for that as well, I think. I know the pod was out because I listened to it on the way home from the airport, but he will have the article out for tonight either way. But it was a good pod, good listen. Go check that out. PayPal reminder, most of the guys were kind of flushing through the NFL. Everybody's kind of reached out to me, but if you were a PayPal subscriber, the next big push will kind of be when we get to the new year and heading towards the Masters. We stopped using it in March. I just occasionally toss it on the pod in case you're listening. You won't renew. We moved all of ours to one processor, one vendor in March. Your price will still be locked in for life. You'll get an email from us with a code, a personalized code for you only, and it'll get you your pricing that you had before. If you were a member, are a member, don't know, can't remember, didn't see it, maybe you got kicked out and didn't realize it, just DM me on Twitter or email me at support@gupscorner.com. We'll get you taken care of there. I'll look up your account, figure it all out. Winners for the NFL Kickoff, Casey Henry, he gets first pick of Masters or PGA swag. So when you guys reach out to me, I'll just send a picture of what all I have and you pick out what you want. Dennis K 905, you will get second pick. And then Zach R, you will get third pick and $20 DFS money as well. So you guys are the 3 winners. Looking forward to this week. I think it's going to be a great slate Sunday. A lot more. There's not a clear everybody's going to go here. There are spots, but I think there's many different ways to get unique, especially in a 13-game slate. Looking forward to college football tomorrow. Always enjoy that on Saturdays. Glad to be able to rest. Busy day today or the rest of the day, but then tonight, get back, watch some college football tonight. My niece is actually performing at a high school deal, so go out to a high school game during that, and then be ready to go for the weekend. If you got questions, reach out to me. Apologize again for this being out later than usual. Hopefully it's still good, valuable information. You still got 48 hours to look at it. Hopefully we get some sweat over in the Gups Corner for President's Cup as well. I will talk to you soon. Thanks again.